on the Business Daily. Top saccos splash 47 billion shillings in dividends amid Kuscco fraud. So top saccos have raised their dividends payouts to 46.99 billion shillings, shrugging off advisories urging cuts to provision for losses linked to the multi-billion shilling fraud at the Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, that's Kuscco. Disclosures from the top 40 saccos by deposits show a 13.7% increase in dividends from 41.34 billion in earnings that the members got last year. The multi-billion shilling payouts came amidst an advisory from the state over 247 saccos to limit dividend payoffs and write-offs of losses linked to the fraud at Kuscco. So we had this conversation, of course, here, and yes, the thing was, saccos may have to make their dividends a little bit smaller this year to make sure that they provision for the losses that occurred, courtesy of Kuscco. Of course, we said no individual members are losing money, but you could lose in the sense from your dividends. Have they decided to ignore that directive from SASRA? Is it a directive or a suggestion?
It's an advisory.
It's an advisory from SASRA because they don't want mass panic.
I guess so.
Should the dividends be smaller than expected?
Yeah, you see, those two news coming hand in hand. Remember what was happening that weekend when saccos have had their AGMs and they're having their AGMs and they're declaring dividend. And there was a whole panic of, so now what happens when it starts to emerge how much the saccos had actually put into Kuscco and how much is gone. And even when dividends were declared, many saccos will tell you their systems were actually inundated with requests to withdraw. So it could be that. It could be just that, mind to say, we shall provision it step by step.
Right, stagger it.
We stagger it, not following the FIRS rules, and say we shall stagger them and taking the hit slowly. Instead of just saying it in now.
If you're saying there was already that panic and the requests for withdrawal, I can see why they would want to restore confidence. But I don't know, the fact that they've increased their dividends by about 13.7% is also so ambitious. A 3-4-5% increase, I think would anyway, not an expert, but however, you have to go all the way up.
Does it tell us that saccos actually made more money? Because you see, if dividends are rising, if the profits have gone up, then increase the dividends.
Agreed.
Yeah, I mean, if you're declaring higher profit, why not
higher dividends?
Higher dividends.
But why not balance between the dividends and provision?
Maybe they have.
True.
Maybe the dividends minus this Kuscco issue, the dividends could have been 15%.
Okay.
Or 18%.
Okay, some top saccos have set aside partial funds or full provisions to cover the expected loss of billions of shillings worth of deposits and shares at Kuscco. Saccos such as Kona, formerly Safaricom Sacco, raised dividends while in breach of a global accounting rule that demands the cooperatives book the Kuscco losses from day one and in full. The Sacco paid 902 million shillings, up from 794 million, despite spreading provisions for its 134.7 million potential Kuscco losses over the next 4 years. So like you said, staggered over the next 4 years. The provisions do state that it should be upfront and in full.
Where? That would have been hard. That would have caused an issue. So we are seeing that we made this kind of profit, but then because of that, because of the decisions that were made by management to put some money in Kuscco, now you members of the SACCO are going to take the hit directly this time. Why?
Is it then maybe time to look at the regulations? Because I can see from the SACCO perspective.
I think it's just looking at, and this issue has been here, has been in the public domain, that Kuscco was not under the ambit of SASRA. And you ask yourself, it's a SACCO of SACCOs, but the SACCO regulator is not regulating this one. That raises very many questions there about the extent of regulation of SASRA, the capacity of SASRA as well. There are very many SACCOs across the country. does SASRA have a clear view of all of them? We saw they licensed them, and if you go to the SASRA website,
Right.
you can see all those, the deposit taking and the non-deposit taking saccos that have been licensed. But are they able to now check and ensure that all of them